welcome to the Elite Picks NFL podcast. Let's dive right into it, starting with our Week 2 overview. All right, everybody, so we're going to be showing our homepage here from the Elite Picks app, and we're going to look at some of the players that are on the screen and who we may like for Week 2. John, you want to kick it off for us here? Who are somebody that you may like, at least for the quarterback position for Week 2?
Well, my favorite part of this section of the app is the best matchup. I love matchup-based props, fantasy, whatever. Jared Goff sticks out to me here because he's playing at home. He's best at home, and he's playing against the 30th ranked passing defense in the Buccaneers, who also just lost, 3 corners last week, including Antoine Winfield. So, I mean, that sounds like 300-plus yards passing to me.
They had a pretty underwhelming game offensively Sunday night against the Rams defense that is Aaron Donald-less. So the fact that they're in Detroit, and as you mentioned with Tampa Bay secondary, just got absolutely decimated last week. I definitely think it's a good spot for Jared Goff, whether it's for fantasy football or for DFS purposes, or maybe even some particular props.
Yeah, for sure. Tyler, what sticks out to you, man? What do you got? I'm sorry, not Tyler.
Yeah,
or Tyler,
oh, yeah,
go ahead too.
No, that's quite all right. B-Dot, you do your thing. That's quite all right.
No way, man. You know me. I can deflect. Hey, you know me. I got to go with my man Lamar Jackson, especially against the not so good Raiders defense. They gave up 362 yards last week against the Chargers. 112 of those was rushing, 250 yards was passing, and Lamar had a great second half, 273 yards passing. I feel as though his ceiling for this game is going to be pretty high, especially that offense is getting another full week of practice and trying to piece those things together. And I got to go with Lamar. Lamar's going to put up some great numbers, whether that's fantasy, whether that's prop-wise. Be on the lookout for Lamar Jackson to have another great game and get that W, against that Raiders defense.
Well, I got the Raiders defense in fantasy. I might be a little screwed. Might need a little waiver pickup this week.
I'm sorry, John.
It's rough, but we'll survive. We'll survive. Tyler, what sticks out to you, man?
Yeah, so looking at our homepage here and some of the quarterbacks, it's hard to ignore Anthony Richardson, to be honest with you. I have him in one of my fantasy leagues. I know, I'm assuming most of you saw that 60-yard bomb he threw in Week 1. That was really something special to see. And he also had a nice rushing touchdown. So I think you can potentially look at his rushing props as well as just somebody for DFS or obviously in fantasy you're going to be starting him. But for DFS, I think he's a great option against the Green Bay Packers, who just lost Jordan Love, and Malik Willis, if I'm not mistaken, will be taking the quarterback position. Who, I think he's maybe played a few preseason games. I know he was an early, around an early draft pick for the Titans, but I think it's just set up for the Colts here to really have at it for Anthony Richardson to do something with his arm and also his leg. So I don't think you can go wrong with Anthony Richardson in Week 2.
Colts are -3. That looks like a good pick right now if they're starting Malik Willis. So, yeah.
Poor Malik.
Yeah. I feel bad for guys that are having a tough time in the NFL, but he hasn't shown much, unfortunately, at this point.
So, yeah, guys, any other positions that potentially, pop out to you for Week 2, or would you like to get in right into Thursday night's game?
I was going to say another Lion, Jahmyr Gibbs on here looks pretty good as well in that best matchup category. So Tampa Bay's defense looks like it's having a tough time so far this year.
I even like that Josh Jacobs, especially with Jordan Love being out. Green Bay will depend a lot on that running game, and he did pretty well last week. So be on the lookout for Josh Jacobs to have a pretty decent game this upcoming Sunday.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I don't mind taking a stab at the one sleeper pick. I know there might be a couple other sleeper picks down there, but Brian Robinson Jr. I like for his price. He's right around 5,800 on I think DraftKings this upcoming week. He's playing against the Giants. Most people thought with Austin Eckler going into the Commanders that he was going to be the guy, but it's looking like Brian Robinson Jr. is going to be the guy for the most part, with Austin Eckler being that change of pace back. So the Giants are absolutely abysmal. So I definitely expect Brian Robinson Jr. to get in the end zone. So I do like an anytime touchdown, for him. or maybe a rushing prop, but I do particularly like him for DFS this week.
Yeah, I like that's a good pick. It's a good sleeper.
Love it.
So yeah, we can move on to the big Thursday night game. I'll tell you one thing: these primetime games have been absolutely awesome so far to start the season. And we have the Bills at the Dolphins. But before we get into the actual game and talking, I know John's already ready to get his pick going. But we do want to get into some of our favorite player props for this Thursday night game. So Jonathan, do you want to start us off with who your elite player pick's going to be for this game?
All right, so I'm not going like full golden retriever Josh Allen. I am picking Josh Allen for my elite player of the game here, but bear with me. The Elite Picks app did really well with passing props, especially pass attempts and pass completions last week. So I'm going to roll with Josh Allen under 33.5 passing attempts this week. Now, I still think he's going to have an elite week. I do not start him in fantasy or anything like that. This is a game script specific thing where I think that James Cook is going to get a lot of work on the ground in this game. This Bills offense is a lot more run heavy than it was the last two times the Buffalo Bills played the Miami Dolphins. So I think the run game should be effective if it was like it was last week. Jacksonville last week had 128 rushing yards against the Dolphins and averaged 4.9 yards a carry. That spells a little bit of opportunity there for me. And only 23 passing attempts for Allen last week, and that was a game script specific thing. Josh Allen I think he had like 2 passing attempts going into the 2-minute warning in the first half, just because of the way that the game played out. But yeah, 93.45 EP score. I like Josh Allen's under passing attempts there, but I still think that he has a great day for fantasy, and maybe hits some over on his rushing prop or even his passing yards prop, maybe even while not hitting that attempt line. But what do you guys think?
I like that 100%, especially if it's going to be, according to the weather, it's going to be raining. Even though Buffalo, they are a great bad weather team, used to playing in that type of, type of atmosphere. But yeah, that's pretty solid. I'm going with that too. I like that.
Nice.
Yeah, I definitely like it. I also think you'll probably be cheering for more rushing attempts in that regard, because then obviously, hopefully that means less passing attempts. But he was Superman last week, and he's continued to show why he's the best fantasy quarterback, DFS quarterback in the league. So
stay safe, Josh. Stay safe. Slide.
Yeah.
Protect.
Just because you maybe take the under in completion doesn't mean he's gonna not do his thing and have a healthy fantasy week. So I think it's a great pick.
For sure.
Like that.
What you got, B-Dot? What you got?
Man, you already know I'm going to my security blanket, man. My elite player of the week is Tyreek Hill, over 6.5 receptions. Last week he had 7, but he was targeted 12 times. And I think, like I said, since it's raining, he's going to rely on his best receiver with the best hands, which is Tyreek. And Tyreek got into like a little late start. So I think he's going to try to get acclimated earlier. I'm not predicting big yards like last game because of the field conditions, but definitely targets and catches. I can see. I'm giving Tyreek 9 catches, 9 receptions this week. So yeah, what you guys? How y'all feel about that, man?
I love that angle because of the running back injuries that the Dolphins have right now. I mean, if you're giving carries to Jeff Wilson, and Devin Achane is going to be a game time decision, I think, for this game. But if he's a game time decision, he's not going to be 100%, and he's definitely not like a workhorse back where they're going to give him 20 carries a game. So I think your running game is going to be a lot of the short screen stuff that you said, B-Dot. So, Tyreek Hill might have, 6 receptions for 20 yards halfway through this game, but it's still going to be 6 receptions. So I love it.
Exactly.
I love it. I think that's a great pick.
What you got, Big Ty?
So yeah, I went with a similar beat. I went with the wide receiver too. I went with Jalen Waddle over 4.5 receptions. He had 5 catches last week against the Jaguars, and he's had 4 receptions in 7 of his last 10 games. So at the 4.5 mark, I don't really have any issues taking this player prop for Thursday night. And John touched on it a little bit, but Mostert's out. Achane, is questionable. Achane got a decent amount of screens and quick drop back passes last week. My only thought is I think that Tyreek, they're going to be really keeping an eye on him because he is the best wide receiver in football. So I think it just might open up more opportunities for Waddle to get some more looks, whether it be wide receiver screens, or those quick drop back passes, especially in the rain. wet ball. Defense is going to be humming on all cylinders. We know how Tua is, not necessarily great weather. We'll see how it actually is tonight. But I do expect the Bills to pin their ears back and to get after him because we have seen him shrink in the past when pressure gets on him. So my hope is that Jalen Waddle will be a recipient of that and be able to get over that 5 reception mark. So don't need him to go crazy in yards. Just get me 2 or 3 short passes, maybe a couple deep bombs, and we'll cash this baby.
Especially if Tua take care of the ball. I mean, he may need to take a little tip from one of the former players that was in that division, Tom Brady, and
never heard of
with
him.
With the deflate, deflate the ball a little bit. You feel me? Get a little bit more control of it, and I think Tua will get the ball out to these guys perfectly well.
I will say, definitely monitor too, whatever sports book you may use, monitor, because as we get into tomorrow, this may get bumped up to 5.5, where you might not have heard me speaking that same tune where I thought at this 4.5 mark, I had to get that number. So just also keep that in mind as well as we get into tomorrow. I know folks are busy with work and stuff. Before you know it, it'll be 5 o'clock tomorrow and you haven't put anything in yet. So I know we've all been there, but also keep that in mind too, because these numbers could change by the time it gets close to game time.
Yeah. My buddy told me this on our Bills podcast. I'm pretty sure that there was only 2 Dolphins wide receivers who caught passes in that game this past Sunday, and it was Waddle and Tyreek. So another interesting angle for the kind of volume that we can expect them to get for this game. So I think those props are perfect. I think those are great.
Tyler did say get rid of that tight end.
I don't even know who. I can't even tell you who their wide receiver 3 is, quite frankly.
It's supposed to be Odell Beckham Jr. who's
I was about to ask, OB.
And then I know we forgot about OBJ, right? And then it's Braxton Berrios, who I think is also out for this game. And so I think that they're I'm trying to remember. Craycraft maybe might be the next guy up on their wide receiver 3. So, I think that bodes even better for these props. So,
I think Smythe might be I think this tight end Smythe maybe got a touchdown last week, but that was like a goal line situation. So
yeah,
he may take a few, but it's supposed to be a high scoring game. So that's also, in that regard, hopefully that just gives them more opportunities to get receptions.
Funny thing is,
are you fact checking me on the box score?
No. Funny thing is, I just typed in because Chat GPT. That's my go-to. Typed in the Dolphins. Their top wide receivers. Their most used wide receivers and just wide receivers in general for their team. And they only listed Tyreek Hill and Waddle. So it's like I would have to go more intricate and be like, I need all the receivers, and they still going to put Tyreek Hill and Waddle. So these are 2 great picks, folks. Like Tyler said, put them in early. Because it definitely will. Up. Yes.
It's going to get that up.
And
sure.
And especially if Achane's out, I don't have a clue who is going to be in that backfield. But he got a decent amount of catches last week, just to further the point of I don't know who they throw the ball to besides those 2 guys. Because I was watching that game and I was like, man, they're hike and they're putting Achane out on wide and just hike screen. So definitely expect Tyreek and Waddle to get some of those looks tonight. But yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting if their backfield's decimated.
Yeah.
So, all right, we can actually get into the actual game picks. I have to start with you, John. What side are you leaning on for this game?
Oh, yeah, I know. It's such a surprise. Okay, so I'm obviously a Bills fan, a little bit of a homer. I'm going to stay objective on this podcast, obviously. But are you telling me that I can pick the Bills to win and you're giving me points against a team that Josh Allen is 10-2 against? 10-2. And you know what those 2 losses were? I remember them. You guys probably don't. One of them is a Charles Clay drop. You guys probably don't remember Charles Clay. He dropped it in the end zone as time expired. And the other one is a Heat game from last year or 2 years ago, where there were so many Bills players getting IVs that they were putting players out of position on the field because so many guys were running to the locker room for IVs at the end of the game. So this is a night game. Obviously, Hard Rock is not going to be as unfair of an advantage as it usually is, making the away team sit in the sun. But yeah, so
I like that.
I got some Josh Allen stats versus the Dolphins too, if you guys want to hear this. Okay, ready?
Come on, bring it on.
In 12 games, 39 total TDs, 7 interceptions, 110.1 passer rating, 309.5 passing yards per game average. So you're giving me points along with that? Like, I'm all Bills.
Okay.
Do you know what his completions are against the Dolphins? Just out of curiosity.
I don't have his average completions. The last 4 games, he has gone over 300 yards, I think 3 times, which is interesting. So, but one of those times, I think he had like only 22 completions or something like that. So, some big numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If he's not your captain for showdown tournaments for DFS on Thursday night, then you need to go back and listen to John what he just said. Those are ridiculous numbers.
Yeah. B-Dot, who you got?
Oh man, come on now. I got to go with the Bills, man. Great bad weather team. I don't know how Miami is going to, thrive in those rainy conditions. And, since you gave out some Josh Allen stats, I got to give out some Tua stats against the Buffalo Bills. He's 1-6 in his last 7 regular season games, only averaging about 207 passing yards. His latest, the game before, like John said, he had a decent game. They won 21-19, 13-18, passes for, 186 yards. But I don't think this is going to be that. Josh Allen is going to come out and do what he does. If not, the best quarterback in the league, and he's going to, make it happen. So the Bills are definitely my pick for this game.
Yeah, so that leaves me, and I know we were Three's Company last week with our Jets pick, but we're going to be the Three Amigos this week, and we're going to go with also Bills plus 2.5. Don't have a bunch of analytics to show outside of some of the stuff that you guys already mentioned. Bills do have the Dolphins number as of recently. I do think that the Bills like to apply pressure, and I do think that Tua does not do well when he's overwhelmed in the pocket. And it was your first sentence, John, that you said, it's hard for me, knowing what the Bills have done recently against the Dolphins, to not take the points with a team like this and with a quarterback like Josh Allen. So I think he's going to be too much for their defense. And unless Tua and Tyreek don't go off, I see the Bills winning this. So.
Yeah. Sean McDermott has done surprisingly well against Tyreek in the regular season. Like the asterisk there is kind of, the regular season, right? Because he's definitely had some games against them in the playoffs. But Chiefs, when Tyreek was on the Chiefs and the Dolphins, like he has averaged well under his usual receiving totals. So they seem to have an answer for him. The big question this year is, can they do it without Matt Milano, matching up on the inside of that zone defense? They are without their 2 star safeties. Jordan Poyer is now on the Dolphins in this matchup, and Micah Hyde is, for now, retired. So some younger guys in there on the defense. Can they still lock these guys down? Does this defense have enough time together and enough continuity to be able to communicate some of the complicated signals that Sean McDermott likes to run against a team like this? So that'll be the question. I think the Dolphins still get theirs, but, give me Bills plus 2.5. Give me some points. I'm down for some points.
Hopefully a better week than last week. My Jets pick was terrible.
Yeah, it wasn't just yours, Jets. Your Jets.
It was all of us, buddy.
I know, man. I was wanted to take the blame for it, fellas.
I do have to mention though. I do want to mention though. I did go 3-1 in my player props last week, so
nice.
Hoping to continue that into week 2.
I went 5-3 in that Jets game with my player props.
Nice.
Cannot complain.
Well, if the Bills lose this one, then I'm going to have to take the fall. So, B-Dot, you're on the hook for week 1. I got week 2. It's on me. So
only right. You got a jersey on, man. It's only right.
I know. I'm a homer. What are you going to do?
All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap it up for us today for our Thursday night football episode. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the podcast, please consider liking and subscribing. It really does help out the channel. Also, leave a comment to let us know what you'd like to see more of. And please be sure to take advantage of our free trial for Elite Picks. The link is in the description below. Good luck, everybody, and we'll see you guys on Friday to talk about the week 2 matchups for Sunday and Monday night.
Go Bills.